So JC, let's just dive into the trailer. Are you ready for that, or are you still updating some things on YouTube?
I'm still updating some things on YouTube. Give me like a minute or two. I'm sorry, guys. I'm
You're
so
good.
sorry.
We're still figuring things out, but I'll just give my rough thoughts on it while you're trying to get things figured out on your end. I think that so far everything I've seen, I had my concerns just based upon reshoots and how little HBO was giving us from the show. The trailer looked great. I think that it fit the vibe of the first novella and really the novellas as a whole perfectly. It had, just amount of that nice humor that you get from the characters of Dunk and Egg, while also having more of the serious stuff in there as well. There's going to be some deep themes that are explored in the novellas. So I think it did a great balance of giving us something that's not like House the Dragon, where House the Dragon is very cinematic, it's very tension filled drama. You didn't really have that with the Night of the Seven Kingdoms trailer because it's very different, and that's something I think that right away from both Comic Con and also the trailer, all the news we're getting from it is the show is going to be very different, and so everything I've seen so far, I'm really happy with. I have some like minor like nitpicky things maybe, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So JC, what are your first initial thoughts from everything you saw on A Night of the Seven Kingdoms that dropped today?
Yeah, sorry for all the technical difficulties, guys. We should be good on both the Grease Goblins channel and my channel. It looks like we're good to go. Brizzy, I see you. Yes, thank you, Brizzy, who's on my channel. But anyway, as far as the trailer goes, I thought it was a really beautiful trailer. I thought it was a very, very. Uh, it is everything I think I expected it to be, and actually, well, I expected it to be more muted in color, kind of similar to House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. But this Night of the Seven Kingdoms trailer was very, very colorful, very beautiful. Lots of beautiful cinematography, beautiful shots. We got puppets. I love that we got puppets. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like I'm excited. I think it's because we've been so starved for anything a Song of Ice and Fire for more than a year.
So please, for everybody else, keep spoilers towards the end. We'll have maybe a spoiler section towards the end. But I really think I like the castings for Dunk and Egg with Peter and then also Dexter. Um, those characters or those actors seem like they really had a great time with it. They're really proud of it. Yeah, I'm just excited. I haven't felt this excited since probably season one of House of the Dragon, to be honest. Like, I was really excited for season two as well for House of the Dragon, but man, everything they showed us I thought was great. And yeah, so JC, anything else you want to talk broadly before we just kind of dive into exactly what we got in the trailer, at least for spoiler free for right now. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the characters of Dunk and Egg are casted perfectly.
Yes.
And I don't know if anyone here in the chat also watched the panel that just ended at New York City Comic Con, where they had the actors for Dunk and Egg on stage alongside the showrunner and George R. R. Martin. But the chemistry that the two main actors had during the panel, you can see that that chemistry translates over to the characters as well, because these two look like they just bounce off each other so well. They they jape with each other, they joke with each other. It's how they bounce back and forth with each other. It's so wonderful, and I'm excited to see what that chemistry looks more like once we get to the actual show.
Agreed. So I think let's just dive into the trailer just in general. There was a lot to unpack in the trailer. Even
Oh
when we're
yeah.
not talking about spoilers, I basically tried to jot down like everything that happened scene by scene, and it got so hard when they started throwing narration at us in like six different set pieces and scenes all at the same time. But I was really surprised by how much they showed us. In terms of, I was very much expecting that we would get a lot of footage from the first two episodes, maybe the first three episodes, but there's stuff in here that you can tell is like towards the end of the show. And the show is only going to be six episodes, so, you know, they're going to show you maybe a little bit. And especially if you haven't read the novellas, you're not going to know what they're showing you. But JC, did that surprise you when watching the trailer, like how much they showed in terms of the whole series?
So yes and no, because I think for the second season of House of the Dragon, they also showed a bunch of stuff. The thing was that it was so out of context. So if you were
Yeah.
someone who hadn't read the book, or in the case of House of the Dragon season two, where they changed stuff from the book, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't remember this scene. What scene is this in the book? Um, then it's not too, for me, it wasn't too big of a surprise that they showed most everything. They showed a the key climactic scene from the first novella, clear as day in
Yeah.
this trailer. But if you didn't have context for it, if you haven't read it, then you're probably like, oh, it's just some jousting that happens, some other stuff that happens. So I wasn't too surprised, but yeah, the whole plot is essentially spoiled.
Yeah, and George also did some spoilers, which we won't discuss, but
Yes.
he kind of exposed some things he shouldn't have said, especially when you're trying to keep the show where, especially on a Comic Con, where there might be people that don't even know what Dunkin' Egg is or Night of the Seven
Yeah.
Kingdoms. But George is George; he does what he does. But I really liked the way we kind of started with the trailer, where we're kind of picking up exactly what you need to know about the show, like who is Dunk, what is his purpose going to be in this show, and the background of the character. So the beginning, which isn't really spoilers at all, it's really just setting the stage, is we see Dunk with the whole Sir Arlen plot that begins the book as well. I do wonder, JC, because we didn't see it in the trailer, but do you think we will ever see like any flashbacks to Sir Arlen or any of that? Because the way the trailer introduced it is we jumped right to the beginning of the first novella with him burying his, how would you even say that? What is
Spoiler. No, I'm just kidding.
how would JC, how would you say like he's burying his like mentor more or less?
Yeah, the knight who mentored him.
Yeah.
So
Go
I
ahead,
oh,
JC.
sorry, go for it.
No, I was gonna throw it to you actually.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Because the very first shot of the trailer is Dunk carrying the ailing Arlen Pennytree as he's on his last dying breath, and then you hear the narration of Arlen Pennytree speaking to Dunk of what a knight is supposed to be. So there is a lot there that was just transcribed perfectly from the book.
Yeah,
So I don't we didn't see any flashbacks. Something tells me that there might be one flashback concerning Arlen, but I don't know. But as far as what was shown in the trailer, there's no flashbacks. So it's just Dunk bearing Arlen.
agreed. I do think we're gonna see one. I just don't know when they're gonna throw it in there, just because given we have 6 episodes, 30 minutes to 20 minutes each, I feel like they've got time to kill in terms of putting in some other stuff, as we've talked about in the past. The first novella is not very long,
No.
so
And you guys should read it. It's really
it's
good.
good. It is good. I would both read it and do the audiobook. The audiobook is by Harry Lloyd. I say this every time we talk about Night of the Seven Kingdoms. He is fantastic. Harry Lloyd is the person that played Viserys in the first season of Game of Thrones. Fantastic.
Oh yeah. Oh, Ghost, can I answer these real quick, Grease? By chats from Ghost T and
Oh,
Maz.
go ahead.
Yeah. Ghost T, he's saying George was trolling, as with regards to the spoilers that George was talking about during the panel. I'm sure most of the people know the plot and have read the book. Most of the people at the panel know the plot and have read the book. There were quite a few book readers at the panel, or not at the panel. They were in attendance for the panel. But even then, New York City Comic Con is such a huge thing. It's such like a mainstream broad thing. I would think that most of the people there, despite Trey the Explainer, Quinn the GM, Dragon Demands being in attendance, I would still think, a good 70% of that audience is predominantly just Game of Thrones fans. Um, Maz, that's one of the reasons the series worked better than a movie with stories like this. It'd be easier to throw a flashback scene at the beginning of the episode and make it flow smoothly. Do you agree with that, Grease?
I don't agree with that. I think okay. Don't get me wrong. I think they can make this season great, but I think the novella plays out way more as a movie than it does an episodic show,
Hmm.
just based on
Yeah.
the way it's formatted. I mean, they're going to have to really pick and choose where they end episodes, how they start episodes, because like we talked about, given the trailer, what we saw from it, we saw a lot of the actiony stuff, which isn't really any of the stuff in the first half of the series. So I don't know. I kind of disagree personally, because I think the novella flows more like a movie would. But JC, what
Yeah.
do you think?
Yeah. I mean, they've said that this TV series is going to be 6 30-minute installments as opposed to the hour long installments. So if they were 1 hour long, I would have definitely said that like, "Oh, we're gonna have 6 hours
Yeah,
of content here for what is essentially a 3 hour novella. That's way too long. A movie works better." But now that we have 6 30-minute episodes and it equates to 3 hours, that's essentially like a long movie. I would still think that a movie would potentially work best because, as you said, Grease, when you're dividing 3 hours worth of content into six individual installments, you have to find a way to end an episode in order to get the viewer to come back to the next episode. So you have to have those episode enders that leave you hooked to come back. And I feel like there's opportunities where that could potentially not go as well as as it should. Whereas a movie, it's just kind of one seamless thing you watch once and that's it. And
yeah,
I think that would probably be smoother. Um, but that's just my 2 cents on it.
agreed. I also did like the thing that is kind of, it's not, I mean, it's one of the main themes of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and it should be, is like, what is a knight? They even talked about this on a panel, on the panel. I love the way they integrated that into the trailer. Like, we see at the beginning, we see Dunk kind of training to use a sword, but you also have people narrating, or even talking to him, or him in his own narration, whether that's the Laughing Storm or that's Dunk, talking about trying to be honorable, trying to be, a good person. And that's going to be something that will be at the front of the show. It'll be a main point of what is a knight. And especially in a world like A Song of Ice and Fire, we've seen this with Game of Thrones, we've seen this with House of the Dragon, we've seen it with the books, is there's a lot of corrupt people. There aren't a lot of people that we consider to be true knights. It's why Brienne stands out so much. I like the way they integrated that into the trailer to really tell viewers, like, this is what the show is about.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Real quick, DDV asked, "How many episodes until we see the big event? Do you think it'll be the end of the first season?" If you want to know, George R. R. Martin spoiled that in the panel, so if you want to go, just watch that. But it will happen in the first season. I don't want to say when.
Yeah. I think this is the best way we can put it without saying spoilers, is think about the way House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones have been structured. Your big events are usually the episode for the end. If that's what you're looking for, that's the way I'll say it. Um, but yeah, so then going through the trailer, we also got a lot of great comedic moments, and I talked about this
Mhm.
a little bit. So far throughout this stream is we have great, like, okay, we're building up who is Stunk, very serious tone, and then we get a
Yeah.
joke. Are you Baelor Targaryen? Well, then get out of the way. like that's the stuff that I is going to be so different from the other shows, and what's going to be very
Yeah.
refreshing is it's going to have that comedic value that A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms also have. Did you enjoy that as well, JC?
Yeah, I love it. It's a nice change of pace. There was one scene where Egg is like, "You don't have any dogs," and Dunk is like, he
Yeah,
just barks right back at Egg. So it's like, oh, there's humor to it. I like it. It differentiates it from House of the Dragon, where House of the Dragon is more of your serious drama show. Dunk and Egg, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms TV show, is more. I mean, yeah, there's drama, but it's more a little bit more lighthearted, more endearing, more kind of slice of life, like, haha, two people going on an adventure. Let's have a laugh about it, kind of thing.
yeah. It really starts out like just your traditional story. Like that's the way the novella starts out. It's not anything crazy. It's just you've got this, okay, lower class guy who's trying to make his way in the world. He's a hedge knight, and like we saw in the trailer, Egg wants to be his squire or whatever, and so they're going to go on this
Yeah.
grand adventure. But this is George R. R. Martin's world. We know that's not necessarily going to go as planned. And you just saw that really well done here. I think a lot of the sets from what we saw looked beautiful. I thought everything, every time we got even a little, just a bit of Ashford, and they gave us a little bit of, okay, this is what the tourney grounds are going to look like, or this is what the village looks like, or whatever, the camp, whatever, look fantastic. So I do want to give them their props. JC, do you agree? Do you enjoy some of that aspect of it as well?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. It's very colorful. Another thing that differentiates it from House of the Dragon, it's gorgeous looking.
Agreed. And that's not to say like House of Dragon looks bad, but I
No.
mean, I think the two shows go for very different visual styles. Like A Knight of the
Yeah.
Seven Kingdoms is trying to be very bright, whereas House of the Dragon, and when I say like House of the Dragon, a lot of times is much more darker. I don't mean like they're it's too dark that you can't see what's happening. But
Right. It's more grays and browns.
yeah, like for instance, the thing that just pops to my head is season one and then season two with like some of the Damon stuffs, like Damon and Harrenhal. They're making it very dark because that's the set of Harrenhal to make it feel kind of alive and stuff like that. Night of the Seven Kingdoms ain't like that. Everything is
Yeah.
very beautiful. It's bright. It's colored, and that's something. It's just very refreshing. I love that they are not doing what I was kind of worried about, that they were going to be kind of stuck in their way of how do we make it like Game of Thrones? How do we make it like House of the Dragon? It seems like so far everything is how can we be far away from those shows? So how can we differentiate this show from other shows? And they talked about that for a good portion of the panel when I was watching it. I didn't get all the way through, but they very much were talking about like what is going to be the differences and all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
just some background people that maybe don't know. For this setting, this is set after House of the Dragon by a good amount of time, and then it's also set before the Game of Thrones period. Now there are very few characters from this show that will be in Game of Thrones. So for instance, at this time, Aemon Targaryen, who was at the wall in the main show or series, he is actually like in his teen years, I believe, at this point. Is that what he's at, JC? I don't remember his exact age at the first novella. Is he like a teen at this point?
Dunk.
No, Aemon.
Aemon Targaryen.
Yeah.
I want to say teenager, but I don't.
Yeah.
I can't confirm. Oh, actually, no. I think he's 16 years old. Aemon
Okay.
Targaryen, because he just went. Either he is about to go to the wall, or he has already gone to the wall. One of
No,
those two.
he's not about to go to the wall yet.
Okay,
I
never
can
mind.
tell you that because
Sorry, guys.
just remember because when I don't know if I should say this isn't really spoilers for this show, but it's spoilers for Targaryen history in general. But more or less, Aemon goes to the wall, but there's a moment in Game of Thrones where like he says he could have possibly been the king at one point. He wasn't at the wall yet because he
Hmm.
basically serves under his brother, and not at court. But yeah, so more or less there is some connective tissue from this show to Game of Thrones. It's just there is still a big time gap as well.
Yeah,
So
this
yeah,
this takes place. Well, at least as far as the books are concerned, and I'm sure this is trying to be more faithful to the books than some of the other shows we've seen. But this takes place. This Hedge Knight novella, which this Night of the Seven Kingdoms TV show season one is based on, takes place 89 years prior to Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones, I believe, starts
yeah,
in the year 298 AC, whereas this is 209 AC.
yeah. It has to be a point where Aemon's not like 120, more or less.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also, given that we just kind of went into this topic and we started talking about George and all that, I did want to discuss this at some point during the stream. And I thought this makes a good time to do it. We had a news kind of thing come out a couple days before Night of the Kingdoms, the trailer dropped today, is that Parker or Ira Parker, who is running the show, made a promise to George R. R. Martin, who serves as an executive producer, that he would never shift to a perspective of anyone in the upper class. I thought that was really interesting because I thought, especially before we got to the point where we had 30-minute episodes, that they might do some of that. Like they might give us some of the other main characters that are going to be in the first novella. And JC, are you surprised by that? Like we might never see like a perspective of maybe one of the Targaryens that's at Ashford, like specifically if Dunk is not there.
um, I'm not. Well, I'm pleasantly surprised. But again, I think this goes into the argument that this show, they're trying to differentiate this show more from House of the Dragon, where House of the Dragon is more about the royals and the Targaryens. This show is more about the common folk, or the novella is about the common folk, and the show is sticking true to that it's also about the common folk. And I really like that because as
Yes.
much as I love my Targaryen lore, as much as I love, you know, I would love like an Aryan Bright Flame POV or something like that. I think keeping the story true to Dunk lets us know that this is a different kind of story and really lets us immerse ourselves into the world of the common folk because in case you guys don't know, Westeros is a very cruel place, especially for the common folk. So what better way to see that than through Dunk's perspective?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that. It does probably mean we're going to see some extra scenes with Dunk, which is always cool. I will, say this. I'm very surprised that they didn't take the chance because, yes, as much as we're going to say, oh, yeah, this story is more about the small folk, the first novella is still very important to the Targaryen dynasty for a lot of reasons. So even though we're saying, oh, this isn't the story of the Targaryen Civil War or any of that stuff, it is still like important for the Targaryens. Like we see throughout the trailer, we see that there's a Targaryen prince there that is Aryan, and so he'll be involved in the story in a number of ways. And we also see for a very split second, like it's like literally like a second of a frame. We see Aryan, and then we also see, I believe it's Maekar, his father, as they arrive to Ashford, as they're riding in. We don't ever see Maekar really in this trailer at all, but I wanted to point that out because he's like one of my favorite characters. He's awesome. But yeah,
Yeah, we don't really. You have a good eye, man. I mean, I saw Targaryens arriving into camp, but I didn't really see Maekar or Baelor Breakspear. The only
yeah.
Targaryen that was on display was Aerion Brightflame, and
You have to pause it, and you can tell because one of them is Aryan, and then there's another person with like the like silvery hair. So you're assuming it's Maekar, but who knows?
real quick, Greece, Devorah Blackwood mentioned earlier about short-haired Aerion Brightflame. Do you have any thoughts on short-haired versus long-haired Aerion Brightflame?
I did make a note. I like Aryan in his armor costume, like when we saw in the trailer him like putting on his helmet and all that looks really cool. I did find it like when Aryan pops up in the trailer, like they arrive and we see him interacting with Dunk. I just don't know. Something about it doesn't like. I for one also do like the long-haired, version of Aryan that we always see in the art.
Yeah, yeah,
And it wasn't anything really to do with his hairstyle. It just felt like the way he was dressed up. Like he's a prince that is always described as being very like vibrant, very fashionable, I should say. And he just kind of looked very plain. I don't know if that's the way I would describe it, but like he didn't his appearance didn't like do anything for me when he first popped up. I was like, okay, I think I just have to see where we're gonna go with the character and all that. But I wasn't a huge fan of his look where it was just like him in his regular clothes. What about you,
yeah.
JC?
Definitely. I mean, there's obvious. Speaking of Viserys Targaryen being the audiobook narrator for an out of the Seven Kingdoms, when you first see Harry Lloyd play Viserys Targaryen on screen with his long-haired blonde, long blonde hair, it's like, oh wow, this guy. I don't know. He leaves an impact
Yeah,
in your mind. Whereas, you know,
forward to. I also want to see. Well, I don't want to say some other characters because that might be a little bit spoilers, but I'll say I also want to see more of the Laughing Storm. It was cool to see him in the trailer.
yeah,
He got a little bit of a narration moment, and we saw a lot more of him than I was expecting we were going to see. So I was pleasantly
yeah,
surprised by that. Maybe they're going to give him some extra scenes. That could be really cool.
yeah.
But let us
He
know.
laughed twice.
Yeah, let us know what character are you looking forward to. Not gonna lie,
Matthew,
sometimes the long hair just doesn't look good on the actors. Like Damon with short hair just looks better for me. Yeah, I think sometimes it's just a preference. I don't think it's a huge big deal or anything, but yeah,
Matthew Stewart asks, doesn't Maekar have short hair in the novellas? Maybe he's trying to emulate his dad.
that could be
Actually,
possible.
yeah, let me look through the art. I'm not sure if there's art of Maekar here.
I know the art
Uh,
I've seen of like the fandom has it. It's very sometimes it's shorter hair, sometimes it's like the longer hair with then like the white beard and all that. But
yeah,
I would love to try and find the frame I'm talking about where we maybe see Makar, but I'll have to, dive into
yeah.
that.
I'm looking through here just to see if I can find anything. Um, page now. Let's see. Oh, spoilers, spoilers,
A
spoilers.
lot of spoilers. You are
Uh,
reading for the book. We also did get to see the puppets. We got to see Tanzel, which was really cool.
you saw the puppets twice, and then in the second scene, they
Yeah.
actually had like the puppet. The puppets are a lot bigger than I thought they would be.
Yes.
And then what? Yeah, and then one of the puppets, they had it so, like, it would like, the puppet dragon was breathing fire because they would hold
Yes.
up, like, this fire thing. I was like, "Oh, that's so cool."
That's so cool. It's much more grand than I thought it was going to be. I noted that down
Yeah.
because whenever I read the novellas, I always pictured it as like, if you imagine just going to like a food stand and you can
Yeah,
buy. That's what I imagined.
because this is what the puppets look I don't know if you can see.
I can see. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
That's
the
exa-
puppets are, like, super small right
Yeah,
here.
I like that though.
So,
Just playing it up though, it makes me question though. Like, man, if they got that kind of puppets and they got like fire breathing stuff, this is a professional group of people. No
yeah,
wonder.
like, Tanzel's a professional. She knows what's up.
I was a big fan of that. I really hope we get to see more of that. Well, we will. When the show comes, we will see more of it. But yeah, I thought that was really good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that stuck out in the trailer that I think we should talk about. Everything in the terms of like the jousting stuff. So I won't say a lot on that, but just based on what it looked like was looked really fantastic. We see that we're gonna have some of it at night, and they talked about that
Yeah.
during the panel. That's gonna look really cool. We have a bit of a jousting session type thing in the fog, which I can't really talk on much, but that looked cool. Especially when you got the riders that were all lined up in the trailer shot. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love it. The best we can say on that is just with spoiler free is just they look cool, guys. We're gonna see it.
Yeah, I
uh,
don't have much else to add, just like, "Oh, it looked super cool."
yeah. Anything else you want to discuss on the trailer, or and any questions you're seeing that we should talk about?
Yeah, oh, the chat box for restream on my end got oh, here we go. Matthew Stewart. I think we will get a bit more at Penny Tree. That would require a flashback, Matthew. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if that like if we do get flashbacks, I could see flashbacks of Arlen Penny Tree or maybe even Dunk's time at Flea Bottom. I don't know about Penny Tree. I mean, I guess if it's a flashback of Arlen, then maybe we might see a flashback of Penny Tree, but I don't know. Oh, you got a super chat, Grease.
Thank you, Arya. I hope if this is good, it goes 4 seasons at least. I don't know, because I think we'll see at least 3 seasons. It depends if George gets out another novella. I really don't know what they'll do if doesn't have another novella out, because the real issue you run into is Egg's character. He needs to stay a certain age, and so you've got to film a lot of it back to back to back, similar to like the
Yeah.
Harry Potter stuff going on at the moment. So you can't wait like a couple years and then just come back to it and go, oh yeah, Egg's the same age or he's a little older now. Like so I don't know. I really think as of right now we might see 3 seasons and then maybe we get like a special episode where it's like concluding what happens to those
Yeah.
characters or it alludes to it or whatever. JC, you got thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, Grease, you and I did a stream back in February where we saw that article where the showrunner just said that A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is only going to run for 3 seasons and there's not going to be more than that.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that it was just going to be 3 seasons, but I mean, they could always add another one. It's just we would need more George material, and the more time passes, the less likely that is that I can realistically see that happening. So I think 3 seasons is all it'll go. If we do get a fourth season, like you said, Grease, I think it might just be kind of an epilogue of a movie where we
Yeah.
fast forward through maybe some of the events that, well, I don't want to spoil, but towards a further time in history
There's a
when
conclusion
Dunk and
there
Egg are much
somewhere.
older. Yes, yes.
An unclear conclusion, but a conclusion.
Unclear. That's a good way to put it.
But yeah, I mean, who knows, right? We haven't even gotten season 1 yet. This show has to prove that it's going, which I believe it's going to, but it has to prove to HBO, to higher ups, that it can get money made for the show. Like it's worth going extra
Yeah.
seasons, and money talks. We know that. So who knows? We're speculating on things we just don't know yet, and I don't know. I think an interesting question. Will we see Dorn at all?
Ooh. Let's
It's a
see.
possibility.
Well, I don't know. Should I spoil? Well, is that a
I,
spoiler?
I, it's hard.
Maybe at the beginning of season 2 there might be a
Yeah.
flashback about Dorn.
That's what I was thinking.
But
I don't want to expand on it because
okay,
kind of,
yeah.
but yes, there's a possibility for it 100%. Also, thank you, Arya, again for your super chat. Likelihood of an Aegon's Conquest spinoff. So we already know that actually is, it's not confirmed, but there like are talks that a script has been made for it, allegedly. But there is no confirmation like, oh, is this going to come in whatever date? It's still very much to be determined. I think we will. I think it is the next show after House the Dragon finishes. I think it's gonna be the next. Okay, we have one show that's Night of the Seven Kingdoms for its runtime. House the Dragon ends. You need your next Targaryen thing. You need your next dragon show. I think Aegon's the Conquest makes sense. I would rather have Maegor and Aenys personally, but I think we will
Oh yeah.
see that maybe lead into a Maegor Aenys show.
It could be one long show. It could, start with Aegon's conquest, and then like season 3 or season 4, you could delve into Maegor and Aenys, something like that.
Yeah, agreed. Ghost, I would put forth that we haven't even ever seen Dorne. I don't really consider what we saw in Game of Thrones Dorne. It's just some place.
Yeah. You want the good girl, but you need,
Yeah.
stuff.
I saw a comment that I won't expand upon about Egg's parentage,
Mm,
but yeah,
mm.
Egg does have parents. That's all I'll say.
Maz, to your last comment, potentially the epilogue, maybe. We'll see.
The problem is I don't want to talk about it, but I just don't think the structure would work. Like, how would you do that? The third novella, like, would you just end the third novella and the next episode is like, well, we're just boom, we're here. Like, I feel like that'd be a weird way to end the third season. I
Yeah,
think it needs to be its own separate thing.
for sure.
But who
It'd have to be
knows?
like a movie or
Yeah,
something.
like a short, maybe it's like an HBO like normal episode where it's like an hour long Dunkin' Egg thing, and that's just the conclusion of it. But yeah, um, personally, I think he's already got another novella cooking. I definitely think
No.
because we're getting a well, let's be positive here, JC. Let's be positive.
Okay.
He's right now, he's feeling himself. George was the happiest I think I've seen him publicly in a long time on that panel. Like, he looked very
That's
happy to
true.
be there. He enjoyed talking about the show, the source material, all that kind of stuff. And he was even joking about like his own writing. So it wasn't like how it usually is from him, where it's like very depressing when he's like, I'm a Gardner style writer. And he like made a comment in the panel where he's like, sometimes I want to go back and like beat up my older self for making so many POV characters when we started out with such a small number. It's good to see him like in higher spirits. So maybe if the show does well and he's really happy with it and all that kind of stuff, maybe he's like, screw it. I can write these Night of the Seven Kingdoms novellas way easier. Let me just do my thing. I could see it
Yeah.
maybe, but I don't know. People would not be happy.
Yeah, to your point, I do think that compared George here to how I saw him 2 months ago at Worldcon, he definitely was in better spirits. He wasn't as glum and depressed as he was. He didn't ramble as much. Granted, this was a much shorter panel than the Worldcon panel, but he wasn't. I mean, he did ramble some,
He
but he
did
wasn't
ramble.
going. Yeah, he did go off topic. It was just what George does today. But he seemed in better spirits. He seemed happier, and if the first season does well, maybe we could see the village hero. But
Yeah.
I I don't know. I'm being maybe pessimistic or more realistic about it.
I don't know, man. If you're George, you got some big old balls if you whip out a Night of the Seven Kingdoms novella. Like, I'm not gonna be mad. I would love anything we can get from George, but the cry of "Where is Winds of Winter" would just
Oh yeah,
overlap anything that happened from that, and which is unfortunate. But I mean, we do want to see the finish of the series. But I don't know. Hmm.
Greece. Real quick, so of the four, if you had to rank them from the what you want to see the most to what you want
Okay.
to see the least, Winds of Winter, Fire and Blood Part 2, The Village Hero, She Wolves of Winterfell. How would you rank them from like what you want to see the most to what you don't want to see as much?
People are not gonna like this response. So of course it'd be Winds of Winter first. I feel
Yeah.
like that's not the debatable one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number two would definitely be Fire and Blood Part Two. I would much more rather have the history be of the Targaryen dynasty be like filled, like we know more about all of the things that happened throughout the ending of Aegon the Third's reign, all the way to where Game of Thrones picks up at. That would be great.
Yeah.
It would fill out the world. We'd have like that complete narrative. I also love Fire and Blood. It's I like Fire and Blood. If we get more of that kind of style stuff, I'm really cool because it invites so many just interesting conversations. Even though you guys on YouTube don't like Fire and Blood videos, I love making them. I just have to spread them out. Uh, I yeah, and then I would say the She Wolves of Winterfell, and then the Village Hero would be last.
Okay.
What about you,
No,
JC?
I'm with you 100%. So I typically like A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms more than Fire and Blood, but I'm more interested in seeing Fire and Blood Part 2 than, for example, like the stuff with Aegon's conquest at the beginning. I was like, I mean, that's cool, but it's just like, all right, just Aegon arrives and takes over. The best part of Fire and Blood for me is the stuff with Maegor and Aenys. That
Yeah,
stuff is gold. But everything around that, personally for me, I still like it. But I would say like A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms for me is more interesting than some of the other stuff, with exception of Maegor and Aenys. However, Fire and Blood Part 2, once we get into the Blackfires, and then especially seeing how we bridge between Aegon the Third's regency all the way to Robert's Rebellion, I'd be very interested to see all that stuff. So I think, like yourself, I would have Fire and Blood Part 2 in second place as well, above She Wolves and Village Hero.
I mean, just even think about if we have Fire and Blood Part Two, it's not like we're getting 100 pages of a novella. You're getting upwards of 600, 500, 600, 700 pages. I mean, that's a lot. That is a lot of content from George. And I think the thing that Fire and Blood Part 2 would have that Fire and Blood Part 1, struggles with is Fire and Blood Part 1 has okay, it has a huge part of the book that is just Jaehaerys's reign, which I by far think is the worst part of the book because it's just of course it's not as interesting. You're not building towards a
Yeah.
war or anything. It's the building of the kingdoms. How did everything happen? It's the fallout of Maegor's reign, which is I think the best part of Jaehaerys in that section. With Fire and Blood Part 2, you don't really have that. Like, you don't have a lot of people that rule for a long amount of time. It seems like every single king, it's like, okay, we're building towards the next Blackfire rebellion or whatever, and we're building towards something else. That's something I think would be really great for that. It wouldn't have, I think, the pacing issues that Fire and Blood Part 1 would have. But also, maybe I am a Dunkin' Egg hater. I'm not really. I know it's really well written. I really love reading Dunkin' Egg. It's just I don't know how I personally can't sit here and go, okay, the first novella and the second and third novellas, which are only about 300-ish pages when you take out images and stuff, versus, you know, 900 to 1,000 pages for like a Song of Ice and Fire book or Fire and Blood, which is I have a personal one. I think that's the only one that to me is debatable is Fire and Blood, but I don't know. I don't know. I love all of them, but Dunkin' Egg is at the bottom for me.
Yeah. I mean, going here to Ghost T's question, yeah, Fire and Blood could fill a lot of gaps. It could also help Dunk Connect too. I totally agree, Ghost. Like if George writes a Fire and Blood Part 2, where he's got, multiple conflicting testimonies, we've got another version of Mushroom at some point in the future. Is like Mushroom's like, well, this could have happened to Dunk, or maybe this could have happened to Dunk, or maybe this could have happened to Dunk. And George could write, this interesting conflicting history for the second half of Fire and Blood. And then George could then later go into the individual Duncan Egg novellas, and he's like, all right, which of Mushroom's testimonies am I actually going to like
Yeah.
confirm here with this canonical, Night of the Seven Kingdoms novella? It could help him a lot with that. But, this is a dream-like hypothetical that George is going to get all
Yeah.
this stuff done. I
It's
don't
probably
know.
not going to happen. I mean, just
Yeah.
think about it. Like, think about how much gap we have. The third and fourth Blackfire rebellions, and even the War of the Ninepenny Kings, we know like almost literally nothing about. Like the Peak Rebellion is just like a footnote. It's like, oh, this thing happened. I don't know why did the Peaks actually rebel, and then that led to something else, and all this other stuff. Why did that even happen? I don't know. It's a little footnote. Like, there's so much there that is at the moment very left. Okay, we got to speculate on some stuff, and I don't know. Also, I know Matthew that you're picking on me. I know. But yeah, so refocusing back to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms for the show, the trailer. JC, I know me and you, we've talked about this show multiple times, going all the way back, I think, to the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Did the trailer, did the panel, did it make some of your concerns maybe for the show? Did it like clear up? Are you a lot more, I would say, positive now, like a lot more excited that all this is kind of finally here and all that?
Well, the panel itself is just a normie panel. It's a nothing
Yeah,
burger,
yeah,
nothing interesting there. But the trailer itself, yes, I was like, this looks really good. Looks really beautiful. I love the acting. I love how different it is from House of the Dragon. Not to say that House of the Dragon is bad, just different take. Well, parts of House of the Dragon are bad, but that's another topic for another time. Uh, but it's beautiful, and any concerns I may have had with this show have been put at ease by this trailer and then also by the information that the episodes are only going to be 30 minutes. So that lets me know it's not going to be dragged out.
agreed. Arya, could Night of the Seven Kingdoms lead to more spin-offs if successful? Yes. I think
Oh,
this is a
totally.
big year for A Song of Ice and Fire in terms of if this community is going to live. I think that the next year is very important. House of the Dragon season 3 and A Night of the Seven Kingdoms cannot both flop. That one of them has to be like very good quality, drives in, viewers to come into it. It can't be House of the Dragon season 3 was disappointing again. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms was, it was okay, but it had issues. Like it can't be one of those kind of years, or you just see more of that decline happen. And especially when it seems like Winds of Winter is getting further and further away. And yeah, I think that the shows will, if we're gonna get more, if we're gonna have more of the HBO universe of Game of Thrones, the next year is very important.
Agreed. Also, like you said earlier, Grease, money talks. If this A Night of the Sun Candles TV show does really well, and we get two more seasons. Well, I mean, we're already going to get two more seasons. I think they're going to start filming soon,
Yeah.
back to back, and those do still well. Yeah, HBO Max is going to keep this A
Hmm.
Song of Ice and Fire adaptation gravy train rolling until the money stops rolling in.
Agreed. I think the only thing that is a worry is that we don't oversaturate it. We're already getting a little bit. I don't know how. I think it would have been better if we would have gotten this show this year, because both you're gonna have Night of the Seven Kingdoms and then also House of the Dragon season 3 come out
Yeah,
within a span of a couple months. Is something that, like, we don't want to get to the point where we get to where Star Wars or Marvel was, whereas they were pumping out multiple projects a year, and because they had to do that for money reasons for the most part,
yeah,
it started to give a worse quality. Now season 2 already, of House of the Dragon, I think lost a bit of its quality because of certain issues. But that's my one worry is I don't want to see three A Song of Ice and Fire projects at the same time going on. I think that's too much. I think it oversaturates the market and interest. But I don't know. What do you
yeah.
think about that, JC?
No, I mean, I think 6 months between. Well, this show's coming out January 18th, and then House of the Dragon's coming out in June. So by the time this show ends, it might be early March. Let's see, 18, 25. Well, I'll do the math later, either late February or early March. But anyway, by the end of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms being late February, early March to the start of House of the Dragon season 3, which would be late June, I'm imagining, then that's like March, April, May, June. So it's like 4 months. I think that's still a decent block of time. It's not like they're going back to back. So I think it's still okay. And especially because these are two different shows.
Oh yeah,
It's not like anytime there's a new Marvel show, it's like, oh, another like, haha, quippy, lame Marvel joke show. And then like right after that's like, oh, haha, another lame, quippy Marvel joke show. It's like, all right, really differentiating yourselves here. So I think it's different enough and spaced out far enough apart where I think it's still okay. But anything closer than that, yeah, you run the risk of oversaturation.
yeah. My worry isn't about like those shows. I think my worry is in the future is if HBO puts more pressure on them to deliver these products quicker to fill in that void, and it lowers the quality. That's what I'm predominantly worried about. And then also the timing is a bit interesting because once House of Dragon season 3 ends, when does Night of the Seven Kingdoms start back up? Because if you think we're gonna go off the 2 year gap again for season 4 of House of the Dragon, is Night of the Seven Kingdoms going to be on the same kind of schedule? Like, is it going to get released, you know, next year or the year after? I don't know, JC. What do you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, for example, for this Night of the Seven Kingdoms TV show, because they're going to film seasons 2 and 3 back to back. One, because the egg actor is still a child and they want to keep him a kid, and two, because I imagine they want to, they're people are tired of these long breaks in between seasons for
Yeah,
not just House of the Dragon, but in this new streaming landscape, we've kind of gotten used. It's not like it used to be with old TV anymore, where a new season would come out every single year.
yep,
Now it's like, oh, the next season will be 2 to 3 more years later. So I think the release of Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 2 and season 3 being a year apart is realistic. Where it's like we could see season 2 in 2027 and season 3 in 2028. But as far as the other shows like House of the Dragon and that kind of conflicting with A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I think, Greece, there was something you said a while ago where you said as long as the quality is good, people don't have to worry about potentially getting tired of these shows.
yep.
I think as long as I agree with that. As long as the quality is good, people aren't going to complain. It's only when the quality starts going down that people rightfully are going to be upset.
Agreed. But I think especially season 2 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I feel like it would be something that shouldn't take all that long for them to make compared to the first novella, like the first season, in terms of like action set pieces and the big sprawling Ashford Meadow, all the stuff going on there. Like I feel like season 2, I would assume would have a fairly quick turnaround, especially given they're already working on it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if another show pops in there at some point, like if Aegon the Conqueror's show pops up towards when these shows are ending, or if it pops in before season 4 of House of the Dragon. If we see anything there,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a whole different thing because that's gonna be a lot of CGI. It's gonna be a lot of post production stuff, very similar to House of the Dragon. So we'll see.
Yeah. More high budget. Someone asked earlier in the chat that episode 4 is going to conflict with the Super Bowl, and if that's going to be an issue. I don't think. I mean, well, maybe it
Oh,
might be.
is that actually the case? Is it? Oh, that's
Yeah,
definitely gonna conflict if it is.
yeah. Also, I hate that HBO does their shows on Sunday. Like, the last thing I
Yeah.
want. I wish it was like Friday. It's like, oh, I'm excited for the weekend, and it's like Sunday. It's like, oh, gotta go to work tomorrow. Blah. Like I'm watching the show.
Yeah. And when we get to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I don't know if I've fully told my community our plans for that. I know I've gone to what the alleged plans are, not the full plans. But for Night of the Seven Kingdoms, we're basically going to be doing the same thing as we did for House of the Dragon. It'll be us trying to live stream directly after. That's mainly why this stream was kind of dysfunctional, like it was at the beginning, is because this was a more or less test stream to try and figure out and iron out how we're going to do it with 4 people. So it'll be me, JC, Becky, and then Ricky, or Voice of Old Town. Becky does blog.
Yeah,
We're gonna have 4 people, more or less, trying to stream to all 4 of their channels from this. It's a bit overwhelming, and then you're gonna also have to factor in both of them are European, so it's gonna be very late into the night for them.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah. Because it's like it airs usually at 8 p.m. your time,
yeah,
and then the UK, I think, is like 6 hours ahead of you. So that would be 2 a.m. Becky's time, and then 3 a.m. because
yeah.
Ricky's 1 hour for 3 a.m. Ricky's time. It's like, oh man, hope you guys are ready to stay up late before going to work. So
Yeah, it's why it's, very unhinged sometimes, just like House the Dragon was. It got very unhinged late at night. It was a great time.
I love it, love it, love it, love it.
But now that
Um,
we're kind of, I would say, a good portion of the stream in, JC, do we want to start talking about more of the spoilery stuff in the trailers that we couldn't really talk about in the spoiler free part of it?
I'm game. I'm totally game.
Okay, so massive. If you've not read the novellas and you don't want spoilers for the show, this is a great time to leave the stream. This is going to be spoilers talking, major plot things happening, all that kind of stuff. So this is your warning. Giving you some time. I've tried to yap a lot to give you some time. Okay. So, JC, right away.
Everybody ready?
Yeah, we
Everybody,
ready?
3, 2, 1. Baylor Breakspear dies. I'm just
Oh no.
kidding.
You know something I did wonder because they did do like alluding to it because we saw this is the portion that I didn't fully understand.
Mhm.
So, because I haven't read the first novella in a while, so I don't remember exactly how the trial goes down. But we see a moment at the very end of the trailer where somebody is using like a mace. I know Makar does. I don't know if that was him in the trailer or if that was meant to be Arian in the trailer. I don't
There,
remember
I think
exactly.
I've only seen the trailer twice, but there is a Aryan beats up on a dude in a joust, not a joust, but in like a brawl competition before all the Trial of the Seven stuff happens. So, and that's where, after Aryan arrives and Dunk, looks out into the field and he sees like, oh, this Aryan really is like a badass here. Oof, like wouldn't want to get on his bad side, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna get on his bad side anyway.
I'm gonna go ahead and look it up right now. If there's anything
Y-
JC takeover that you want to talk about spoilers, I'm gonna pull up the trailer because I got a specific thing I want to talk about in there. I just can't remember exactly what happens.
Yeah, no worries. I'm pulling up my notes here for when I recently read A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's also been a couple months for me, but anyway, let's see if I can find it here. Um, but yeah, we didn't obviously we didn't see Baylor's death in the show. But as far as the spoilers that George went into for the show, so he spoiled that the trial of the seven will happen
So
in
be
episode
brave.
5, and then episode 6 is more of like a scouring of the Shire type moment in this and that of the Seven Kingdoms season 1 TV show. He said this, by the way, much to the chagrin of Ira Parker, who was the showrunner that was on stage with him. Ira Parker was just kind of like scowling at George, like, what the heck are you doing? Like, but he
Yeah,
was powerless to stop him because, even though George is breaking, I'm sure, some kind of contractual clause, he's George R. R. Martin. Good luck trying to tell him he can't say what he wants and, cutting him out of a contract because he's just George. So let's
I,
see.
I'm really struggling because I'm trying to figure out like because it shows at like 2 minutes on the trailer. It shows somebody using a mace and then it hits somebody's POV in the face, and I don't know if that's meant to be.
So Arian Brightflame at one point challenges Sir Humphrey Harding and impales Sir Humphrey's warhorse. So this is from my notes. The dying horse falls on Harding's leg, and breaks Harding's leg. That happens before Arian goes up to Tanzel's puppet show, and he's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
And then he like busts up Tanzel's puppet show, and Tanzel cries, and then Dunk steps in and punches Arian's teeth in and kicks him.
no, I
Spoiler,
mean
spoiler, spoilers.
JC, if you want to go to the trailer right now because there's a moment. It's in the trial by seven, and there's like a character that is a POV, and I don't know if it's meant to be Dunk or if it's they're kind of changing the way the Baylor thing happens, where somebody is wielding like a a mace, and they like hit somebody in the face, and I don't know if it's meant to be because I haven't read the first novella in a while. I don't remember exactly how Dunk goes down, but you can see there's a moment where somebody gets hit in the face, and I'm wondering if that is how
Like someone
Baylor is
gets
gonna go.
kicked Like someone gets kicked and they fall through the fence? Is that what you're talking about?
No, no, no. Okay, so imagine this, JC. Okay, you're on horseback. It's literally the POV of you inside your helmet, and you can only see a slit, and you just see somebody in the fog. They have dark armor. It's only for literally like 1 or 2 frames, and it shows them like swinging their mace, and it hits the person like you're their POV, and then it shows then falling. It goes to like Dunk being on the ground, but I wonder if that's actually Baylor because that's the way Baylor
Oh,
dies.
gotcha, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Sorry, chat, for this. And by the way, Maz, thank you so much. Yes, like and subscribe. Um, don't forget
That
to
was
hit that.
Arian, I think. You can see his armor flame helmet. Yeah, you probably it looks like one of the Targaryens. It looks like dark armor.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
just
It's
so
it's
quick.
Targaryen shield. Someone's hitting him.
So
It could
it
be.
probably be Arian then, right? It could be Arian. I wasn't 100% sure if it was supposed to be Arian or if it was supposed to be. But if it's also supposed to be the POV from Dunk, especially, that would make sense if it's Arian.
Yeah, Aryan or Egg's brother who has the vision. Although Egg's brother yields.
Yeah, that's another one I was wondering about.
His helmet is awesome. Yeah, Matthew. Yeah, okay. A minute 158 of the trailer. Anyway, it's a lot of good stuff. By the way, chat, are you guys excited for this A Night of the Seven Kingdoms TV show? Did this trailer allay any worries and fears you guys had? Definitely let us know. And like and subscribe.
Yes, do that as well.
Help
Do
us
that as
out.
well. We had a lot of problems at the beginning. Yeah. But
Sorry about that. Oh, by the way, the trailer has already like 412,000 views. Holy shit. Wow.
hell yeah. I hope so.
People are
You know what's
excited.
funny? I actually watched the trailer for the first time on a YouTube short. It popped up in my YouTube
Whoops.
shorts because I got the I saw the like the little 10-second teaser they did, and so I made sure to subscribe and get the notification for the Game of Thrones channel. And so I was on YouTube and I was about to go to their channel and I saw it was in the short, so I watched it as a short first because they had the whole thing as a short, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll watch it through this first and then watch it full screen.
Oh, someone spoiled it, but in like the worst format you can watch it possible. Euron Greyjoy asked earlier, he hates how the casting for Lionel Baratheon, the Laughing Storm, because he's supposed to be in his early 20s, but in the show he looks 45. Well, I mean, Euron, truthfully, like a lot of the actors are much older than what they portray in a lot of these shows. Like Ned Stark, I think in the book is supposed to be like 35 or something,
Yeah.
but he, I don't know if he's not 35 in Game of Thrones or if they just don't specify his age, but Sean Bean was definitely not 35. So I think we're just used to just these actors being older and that even the characters being older than what they are in the books.
Another thing I want to point out, JC, what did you think of the way they did Dunk's shield? Because you see that for a split second. If you want to go to it, it's at a minute 30 in the trailer.
A minute 30. Oh, there we
But
go.
yeah,
I imagine this is right after Tanzel paints the penny tree
I think
on
you can
his
also
shield.
see it when they're lined up in formation for the trial by seven, but it's not as good of a picture. But it looks pretty good to me. I think the way
Yeah.
they designed it looked really nice. Yeah, you can also
Yeah,
see it
I
at
mean,
205 if you want to as well. There's a little bit of maybe a
it's
better.
different than what it appears here on the
Yeah,
cover, but I mean, for what it is, it's really pretty.
I think it's more realistic to be honest
Probably.
in the show. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, let us know.
Also, I know somebody asked me about my back earlier. I will just I'll say this: I got an injection yesterday, and so I've been kind of sore. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'm gonna just hopefully just go with the injections and stop, or if I'm gonna do some other stuff. But videos next week will also probably be very podcasty. Not a lot of editing because I haven't really been able to sit down all that much the last like 2 days. So I've been more focused on Night of the Seven Kingdoms, but
Yeah.
you will have them.
Lalo, thank you so much for your compliments. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks, Lalo, for being here.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody coming in, especially bearing with us on the
Yeah.
stream, all that
Hopefully
kind
next
of
time it's
stuff.
not as
But
not
yeah,
as crazy.
hopefully next time it will be an honest crazy. We'll probably have another test stream. I'd love to do a test stream with everybody before we actually do the more professional ones, towards when A Night of the Seven Kingdoms actually is releasing. But we'll have to see. It's very tough scheduling, especially with Ricky, who right now. Oh, that's another thing I'll just announce on the stream while we're here. Probably won't be a Goblins of Old Town stream from us for probably until November. He is
Mm.
very much deep in a doing theater and working and doing all the adult type stuff. So yeah, and then Becky's just also been really busy. So it would have been awesome to
Yeah.
have her on, but the time difference from when the trailer came out and then her working, we did what we could.
You guys are stuck with us two.
Yeah, yeah. You're stuck with
I
Grease the Cruel sometimes, and JC, what's your nickname? You gotta have like a nickname.
see. Grease the Cruel.
JC the
Uh
Magnificent. That's a good
no,
one.
definitely definitely not. JC the Unworthy. Aegon the Unworthy. uh I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on this. JC the Unlikely. I don't know.
Oh, I like that. That's a good one.
The JC the Unlikely. Also, no Targaryen dagger. That's true. Ghost. I'm so happy. No
That's
dagger.
true.
Woo!
That's true. We didn't have any. Look, guys, it's Game of Thrones related.
It's like, oh, Aegon the First, the Conqueror, he handed me this dagger. He handed it to me, Arion Brightflame, or handed it to me, Baelor Breakspear.
What if there's one scene in season one where it's like, George R. R. Martin got promised all this, but we get one POV scene where it's just like Baelor and Maekar, and it's like, oh, you guys look at this little dagger, look at it. This is our lines, fam. This is everything, man. This is everything. We lost the dragons. What are we gonna do?
You know what? I think so. Season one of House of the Dragon, I like better than season two. Season one was also more faithful to the source material. So Night of the Sun
Yeah.
King in season one so far looks super faithful. But I could, I would laugh, but I would be sad if in season two they just start changing a bunch of stuff. Like Dunk goes to see Lady Rohan Weber, and Rohan is just like, anyway, while you're here, let me talk to you about the others. Like later in the future, like winter will be coming for all of
Alice
us.
Rivers is actually there. Like she's been living this whole time. She like took over Harrenhal for a little while and then she just disappeared and she's with Rohan Weber. That's a character
Arion
I'm
will
very much looking forward to on season 2. We all
Rohan
sent for
Weber.
Rohan.
Yeah. Ghosty Arion will have it. Just watch. Maybe. Yeah, I could.
Arian's
we'll
not worthy. He can't have it.
Be cool if Maekar had it, if anyone. Yeah, Maekar would make sense. He'd probably make the most sense, I think.
Yeah, Arian's too far down the line, I feel like, to be holding down the dagger, but I don't know.
What if what if like when Dunk meets Egg is like, here, let me help you, and like pulls out the dagger. But they don't even make mention that it's like you look at it, it's the same dagger, and like the camera focuses on it, but there's no mention that it's the dagger. It's just like, oh, let me help you cut this rope.
Yeah. It's just like really casual. They're in their like their camp scene that we've seen multiple times in the trailer, and you just see him just whip out like, Dunk, I see you're struggling there. You got some dull knives and stuff because you're poor. I got that. Yep, there you go.
Here, cut up some steak. Here, let me help you cut your steak. Like put that on the knife. Just
He starts throwing up some
the
facts. He's like, hey, Rhaenyra once used this dagger to cut her meat as well. It's very historically relevant. Oh, that'd be fantastic. That we'll definitely start crashing out at streams if they start doing that.
I would actually love it. I feel like it's so just casual. Like they don't even just so casual, just so like disrespecting the dagger. It's like heck yeah.
This is another good question that somebody brought up. Efrent asked, have you considered doing a pre-show? So for when the episodes start coming out, I will be live personally before the episodes come out, and then I'm pretty much just gonna throw that out to like JC, Ricky, Becky. If anybody wants to be on the pre-show, they can, because I'll just be live. It'd be great to have people to talk to, but I will personally myself be live before the episodes just to do a little pre-show, what to expect. But it won't be as like the one where all of us are in it, and it's more the professional one. It'll probably be a lot more laid back.
Yeah. JC the Jaded, JC the Jilted, JC the Magnificent.
JC the Jolly. It'll be around Christmas time. You got to do that. JC the Jolly.
Jolly. Oh, it'll be past Christmas in January. It'll be
Nah, it's still close enough.
The crap part of winter, the part of winter nobody likes.
Hey, winter is a fantastic season. Looking forward to seeing how much they lean into Bright Flame's fire-themed clothing and obsession. This is my problem, though. The first time we see Arion in the show, in the trailer, he doesn't look special at all. He just looks like a guy. Like,
yeah,
you know how in the book it's like, oh, Renly is dressed very fancy, and he's got on this really cool golden crown, and he's got the mixture combo of like yellow and green for like the Tyrells kind of, and the Baratheons, and he looks dressed really richly dressed, like George, the whole paragraph of it in the book. And then Catelyn just turns to Stannis and he's like,